What's up guys, I'm Josh Mosiman from Motocross Action Magazine, and today we are at Fox Raceway, Paula, riding the brand new 2023 Husqvarna TC250 two-stroke. This thing has a lot of new changes. Not only does it have the all-new chassis, suspension and everything that came on the factory edition and all the 2023 KTM and Huskies, but it also comes with electric starting, fuel injection for a two-stroke, and an electric power valve that make this bike all new from the ground up. Very excited to ride this bike today. This video, we're going to be giving you our first impressions of this motorcycle here at Paula, as it's not going to be available in production form for a few more months. We know that Husqvarna and KTM are still working on mapping and fine-tuning a little bits and details on their brand new two-strokes for 2023. Either way, we're excited to ride the bike for you today, let you know what it's all about. The differences between this one and the KTM, yes, it does come with the lowered suspension platform that we really appreciated on the 2022 Huskies. So that crosses over to 2023. Excited to shake this bike down and show you guys what it looks like to have some fun on a two-stroke here at Paula. All right guys, we have stepped into a new era of two-stroke technology now. The EFI electronic fuel injection tuning on these two-strokes, electric starting two-strokes, and the electric power valve that has just made its first appearance on KTM and Husqvarna two-strokes for 2023. I don't know if I mentioned this at the top of the video, but today was a pre-production riding for the MXA Wrecking Crew. No, we won't have a full in-depth article on these motorcycles until we get to ride these bikes for months and months, until we get to keep them in the MXA stables, compare them back to back with our other two-strokes, and really live, breathe, race, ride, brake, build, and spend a lot of time on these two-strokes. Today was just a quick taste to wet our tongues, to appease our appetite of the two-strokes, and to get this video out to our loyal followers and viewers on YouTube to see what the new two-strokes are all about. So KTM did this to us at Redbud. They gave us the 300 two-stroke, the 250 two-stroke, and 125 two-strokes just for a few laps to ride at Redbud. Now we're here at Fox Raceway, Southern California, one of our local tracks, and they gave us the 125 and 250 two-strokes from Husqvarna. One note I gotta let you guys know, Husky is not making a 300 two-stroke motocross specific bike. If you want a 300 two-stroke from Husky, you'll have to get the TX 300 two-stroke, which is the off-road base model. Also, the off-road bikes for 2023, they will not have the TPI injection, fuel injection on those bikes. Now they'll have the same EFI electronic fuel injection tuning that we have on the motocross bikes, as well as what we have on the four-strokes the last few years now. So a lot of guys are asking us, when we go to Mammoth or when we go to some tracks with different elevations, different temperatures, different humidity, are we gonna have to jet the bike? No. That's what fuel injection means. You will not have to jet your two-stroke anymore, and it's truly a new era for two-stroke technology. I'm personally a huge fan of two-strokes. The Motocross Action Wrecking Crew, we are huge fans of two-strokes, and that means we do not want to see them go away. We love four-strokes, we love two-strokes, and now as we get further and further along, four-strokes are gaining more and more popularity, and now people are even talking about electric bikes as we have the Stark Varg coming out soon. So two-strokes, people are getting worried that they're never going to get updated. Well, KTM, Husqvarna, GasGas are still producing two-strokes. They say that they're not going to stop anytime soon, and even Yamaha came out with some updated two-strokes for 2022. So big thanks to KTM, Husqvarna, GasGas, and Yamaha. Comparing these new engines to previous engines, we'll start with the 250 two-stroke in this video. The Husqvarna TC250 two-stroke was a lot of fun to ride today, ultra smooth on the track. One thing that really differentiated the Yamaha and KTM Husky GasGas two-strokes, the 250 specifically, was that the Yamaha was super easy to pick up off the crack of the throttle. The Yamaha YZ250 two-stroke that people know and love, that bike is easy to pick up, and a lot of that has to do with the Yamaha power valve system and also just with the jetting and the time they have into that YZ250 engine. It's been around for a long time, super easy to pick up off the crack of the throttle. While KTM Husky GasGas, those bikes have been a little more, I would say, blubbery or not as crisp off the crack of the throttle in the stock form, but they had a harder hit. They were overall quite a bit faster than the Yamaha 250, and once you tuned them, worked with jetting, maybe threw a FMF or pro circuit pipe on there, it would definitely clean up the initial crack of the throttle. Now for this new 2023 bike, so far what we're feeling, it is very smooth through the RPM range, super easy to pick up off the crack of the throttle. Diving into the mapping on this bike, like I said, we only got a couple sessions on this bike today, so not a ton of time, but map 1 and map 2 are very different. It's pretty weird to look down on your handlebars and see a map switch like we've gotten so used to seeing on four-strokes. Now we're seeing them on the two-stroke. The map 1 is the white map, and map 2 is the green map that we're hitting right next to our left side grip. Map 2 opens up the power valve a lot quicker, while map 1 keeps the power valve closed a little bit longer, making it a little bit more mellow and gradual pull coming out of corners. And that's what the electric power valve is all about. The electronic power valve decides when the power valve opens and closes, and that helps tune the character of the engine. Map 1 is quite a bit slower, quite a bit more mellow right now. Map 2 opens up, like I said, more aggressive. So the mapping is something that KTM and Husqvarna are still dialing in on these new two-strokes, and like I mentioned at the top of the video, this is a pre-production bike, so the mapping could be quite a bit different once we get these bikes later in the year. But overall, very smooth power on the new Husky TC250 two-stroke. As for the overall power, it's hard to tell you if it's way faster or not than last year's bike. I think we'll be able to dive more in our 125 video on that, but overall power feels very similar to last year, except for the fact that it picks up so much smoother and it's so much more easier to ride now, I would say, rather than last year's 250 two-stroke. It was harder hitting, harder to hold on to. You really had to clutch it to keep it in the meat of the power, where this 250 two-stroke now rolls on pretty easily. All right, next up, let's dive into the handling on the TC250 two-stroke from Husqvarna. For 2023, it does come with the lowered suspension platform, so that's really the biggest difference between the Husky and KTM 250 two-stroke. Husky is quite a bit lower. So last year, we measured it as about an inch lower at the seat, Now for this year, it feels at least an inch lower, if not more. 2023 KTMs, those feel quite a bit taller than the previous model KTMs. For Husqvarna, for 2023, still comes with the lower forks, shortened forks, and then also the lowered rear shock, bringing the whole bike down a little bit lower, so it definitely feels lower on the track. In my opinion, makes it corner better, brings the center of gravity lower, just gives you a little more nimble feel on the track. It's great for guys who are shorter, but it's not bad for guys who, like myself, who are 6 feet tall. The chassis, the rider triangle, the distance between the foot peg and the seat and the handlebars, all that's the same. It's just that you're a little bit closer to the ground with these motorcycles now. So personally, I'm a fan of it, but the suspension on the TC250 two-stroke, now that is a whole nother story. It is very, very soft. If you guys remember, the Husky Rockstar Edition 450, the 2022.5 that we called it, those bikes were very, very stiff, and this whole new frame that these brand new generation models are coming with, the frame is a lot stiffer than the previous frames, and with that, the whole bike just feels completely different. It's something that the Red Bull KTM team has taken time to get used to, the Rockstar Husqvarna team has taken time to get used to, and test riders like ourselves, the Motocross Action Wrecking Crew, we are still used to last year's platform. We're still used to the platform that Gas is riding on currently. So it's taken us some time to get used to this new frame, new chassis, new suspension, and so on. But the two strokes are a lot softer than the four stroke models. For me, pro level rider, it's far too soft. And I think for most guys who ride and race regularly, you're gonna want to get stiffer suspension on your Husqvarna TC250 two-stroke. So that's our first impressions of this new model so far. As for the aesthetics on this bike, it is also very different. It's got the gray shrouds, gray seat, yellow rear fender, while it has white number plates and a white front fender. So I think it's cool that they're doing something different, but I'm definitely a fan of all white. I loved when the frames were white, the plastics were white. I was a huge fan of that. However, I do know our friends on the East Coast who live with these Husqvarnas, and you're riding in orange dirt, you're riding in dirt that will stain your motorcycle. White frames weren't such a good thing for that. The new frame is blue, which isn't new for Husky, but this one's got sparkles in it. It's pretty interesting. Blue frames from a distance, they look regular, but coming up close to them, they're definitely more shiny, got some sparkle to them. So that's unique for the Husqvarna model range for 2023. Other than that, the TC250 two-stroke retails for $9,049. So you're gonna get that for just over 9 grand. Personally, I'm a huge fan of two-strokes. Thankful to Husky for updating their two-stroke, adding in some new electronic starting, electronic power valve, and EFI fuel injection tuning so that we don't have to touch a jet anymore when you're riding a Husqvarna two-stroke. And didn't talk much about it, but the electric starting on a two-stroke, that is a cool thing. Super nice. I know our friends on the Enduro and off-road range have had that on their two-strokes, but it's nice to get that on the motocross range. It was kind of weird to start, but it's not like a four-stroke where you keep the throttle off. You do got to give it a little throttle when you hit that electric start button. So a lot of fun today on the TC250 two-stroke. Be sure to check out motocrossactionmag.com, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and subscribe to the Motocross Action Magazine, because we're not going to get this bike for a few months. They say it's not going into production until like September. So they got more testing they're going to put on these bikes. Maybe they'll come out with stiffer suspension. Maybe they'll update the mapping even more to make the bike a little more exciting and harder hitting. Still a lot of changes to come. So once these bikes are in production, come back to the US later this year, we'll be riding them, testing them. We'll bring you guys a full tested video diving into the details on this bike. And then we'll have a full article in the magazine diving into the details as well. So thank you guys for tuning in. Also check out our TC125 two-stroke video coming to our YouTube channel as well, where we give you a highlight of that brand new model. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you in the next one.
Mm-hmm.